Good night, everybody. This is J.R. Colby, Chairman, Newbury Select Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Alicia Greco.
Yes.
Mike Doyle.
Yes.
Jerry Heavey.
Yes.
Jeff Walker.
Yes.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tracy Blaze, Town Administrator.
Yes.
Julie O'Brien, Executive Administrator.
Yes.
Martha Taylor, Planning Director.
Yes.
Chief John Lucy, Chief of Police.
Yes.
Matt Cooper, IT Director.
Yes.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda tonight, we have none. This open meeting of the Newbury Select Board is being conducted virtually, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, and the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. The order, which you can find posted on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Newbury Select Board is convening at 12 Kent Way in the hearing room, and the public is participating by Zoom meeting link as posted on the agenda on the town's website. All of the materials for this meeting, except any executive session materials, are available on the website, and we recommend the members and the public follow the agenda as posted on the website. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of board members, inviting each by name to provide comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and be sure to state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in dialogue with each other, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. The chairperson or vice chairperson will afford the public comment for a period of 3 minutes and will be granted as follows. Participation will be sought through the raise hand function. For video conference participants, this function can be accessed by clicking on the participants section listed in the menu below the photo gallery. Hover your cursor in this area if you don't see it. A participant's window will open and display on the right. On the bottom of this participant area, you will see the list of phone and video participants. And on the bottom, you will see the ability to click on a button to raise hand. Please ensure your name is displayed. You may rename by using the More function next to your name. Telephone participants can use their phone's keypad while in a Zoom meeting to raise hand by hitting *9. Those who have requested to be heard through the raise hand function will be heard in the order of which they are listed. The system lists in order by whom first hit the raise hand function. Please identify yourself by stating your name and address, and then your question or comment. You will be unmuted and your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your questions. We will continue down the list of those in the raise hand column. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Citizen communications. Do we have any raised hands, Tracy?
Teresa Woodbury.
I don't see any. I see one. You do? Yes. Mr. Londigan?
That might be the, the cursor again.
May I speak?
Yes, we have you now.
All right. So I have a comment and a question. And forgive me if I don't follow any protocols. This is my first time at a meeting like this. So hopefully I'll get it right. So I'm following up on a letter or an email I sent the select board and a number of other folks. We participated in a planning board meeting last week regarding a number of citizens' concerns over the proposed bridge on Larkin and Parish roads. We began a petition, my peers and I on the street. We have the commitment of over 200 concerned citizens about this proposed project. So I'm here not to reiterate the concerns expressed in that petition, which I hopefully you all received, but to understand a few things. The first thing I'd like to understand is who has jurisdiction in Newbury over this decision? That's question one, so I'll pause there. Is that a question that can be answered now, or is that not how this procedurally works?
Anyone?
We here to take in comment. We can't answer anything. It's not on the agenda to discuss tonight, so if you want, we can take your questions down, and the chair can add it at another agenda. But at this time, at this meeting, to have dialogue on this would break the open meeting law because it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
I hope
so
you
my
understand.
okay. So then my comment would be I'd like it added to a future meeting's agenda before any final decision is made. As a citizen, that's request one. Request two is
Can you state again what you'd like added to the agenda?
I would like discussion by the town of Newbury over a proposed decision to add a bridge between Larkin Road in Newbury and Parish Road in Georgetown. My understanding as a citizen is that the town of Georgetown has come into agreement with the developer to construct 9 houses on Georgetown soil, but also a bridge in Newbury soil, paid for, my understanding, by the developer in exchange for these houses built in Georgetown. There are 200 citizens in both sides of the bridge that are very concerned about this. These are voting citizens that have concerns. These 200 citizens joined our petition around this, which was put out last Thursday. Okay, we have not been petitioning on this subject for very long. We have a number of concerns, so I would like those concerns to be heard before any decision is made by the town of Newbury regarding permitting on this bridge. Now, I don't understand the procedural process, okay, I'm the first to tell you that, but I would like our voices heard on this subject before a decision is made, because as far as I can tell, there is not any significant benefit to the town of Newbury in the construction of this bridge. That's the subject I would like discussed at a future meeting.
Okay. Can I ask that you send that in writing to the select board, exactly what your questions are, so that we get them correctly?
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a few other comments, which I understand I won't get answers to tonight. But as someone representing the 200 people that have joined us in this concern, I would like to ask, and I know I'm not going to get a verbal commitment tonight, but I'd like to ask for somebody on the select board to join us and support us in this, because we represent a significant percentage of your constituents. And I'd like to believe that you will support us in our beliefs as residents of this town. So food for thought, but that's what I'm here to ask, is that you review our concerns, and that given the size of the people concerned, the volume of people concerned, that someone on your end support us in this.
Anything else?
No, I will be in touch in writing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any
Mr.
other
Chair.
raised hands?
Steve Mangan has his hand raised.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Hi, Steve. Oh, you're muted now. I think you have to unmute again.
There we go, I hope.
Yeah, we got you now.
Thank you very much. As you know, a couple times I've spoken at these meetings under citizens' concerns, raising some points about what I call the ability to communicate, whether it be a Saturday one-on-one meeting with a selectman or something else. But recently I've finally figured out that if I want to send a message directly to the select board without going through the assistant administrator, or if I want to contact the planning board, I have to go through, if you will, Martha. And this is not to take anything away from Julie or Martha, but rather I feel that as a citizen, I want to be able to send something directly to the elected town officials. Now, it seems to me that given that we're getting a new IT coordinator, this might be an opportunity to set up a mailbox that only the selectmen or the Board of Health or the planning board can access to hear written comments from the various citizenry. And I think that would be a streamlined thing. It's just so that there's direct interaction with the people that we elect, as opposed to going through an appointed official. And again, this is not to take away from the appointed officials, but rather just to streamline and make it easy for the people to contact their elected representatives without going through someone who may be out for whatever reason, for instance, and therefore cause a delay in communications reaching our elected officials. So I think in terms of good governance, that's something for you all to consider, particularly now that we're getting a new IT director. And with that, I'll close unless you have a question. So I'll say thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other raised hands?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Chairman's report. I signed the PR 21-20 for Julie O'Brien, PR 21-23 for Julie O'Brien. I signed the PR 21-23 Select Board Salary, VW 21-24 North of Boston Legal Ad.
Excuse me, could I inquire, what was that ad for?
Anything we have to give notice for in a given month,
All right, okay,
you know, that we have to advertise for in the paper.
okay.
That's why you see it over and over again at times.
Okay, this is the first time I've seen it, I was
Okay.
just wondering.
Yeah, that'll be popping up some more. VW 21-24A, Minuteman Press for the annual town report. We have some grants, gifts, and donations. We have a donation to the COA from Susan Gold. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept?
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
Yes,
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
And J.R. Colby, yes. We have another donation to the COA by Carol A. By McLeod.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
yes,
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
And J.R. Colby, yes. And we had $69.63 cash and donations in the cash box at the COA.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Roll call vote. Jeff Walker?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
yes.
Alicia Greco?
Yes.
And J.R. Colby, yes.
You checking to see if I was awake?
I change the order once in a while, just to keep everyone on their toes. Tonight, we have no public hearings. So under new business, we have the reorganization of the select board for chair, vice chair, and clerk. And I move Alicia Greco for chair.
And I'll second that.
Discussion? Jerry?
Yeah, I would love to be able to vote for the chair. You know, I would love to be able to say the chair was going to be open and inclusive and transparent, and not talk down to a person when they vote not according to what she thinks is the correct vote. So on that note, I'm going to abstain from voting.
Have we asked for the vote yet?
Nope. Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Jeff Walker?
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
I move, Mr. Chairman, I move J.R. Colby as vice chair.
And I would second that.
discussion?
Yeah, I think we've discussed. It's my 6th year as a selectman. I've never sat as a vice chair or chair. I'm just saying, like I said, if you want to see some healing in this town, put me as vice chair for one reason. I says, let our side bring to the table what issues are too. Right now, we feel like we have no voice. And I'm sorry, that's the way it has been. So that's why I would not second. You've had a good run, JR. But I think it's time to mix it up a little bit because other towns do it. I don't understand why we can't. That's all I gotta say because thank you.
Okay. Any discussion? Further discussion?
Unfortunately, Mike, I have to say that I'm disappointed in how you've acted towards me during the past few weeks. Quite frankly, you've been abusive. And
I would object. I'm sorry, I would object. This is not appropriate for you to turn on him like that.
You
That's really not nice.
dug Alicia right off the bat, and this is not a dig say, I've seen, and I didn't want to get into this tonight, but I've seen the messages you've sent her. I've heard the things you say to her. Part of the reason I think Alicia should be chair is because I've seen her be tough in an abusive situation.
Oh, my good
I've seen her be tough under fire, and she has my full confidence. And unfortunately, Mike, I wish you could fill the role of vice chair, but I couldn't sleep at night wondering what's going on. I've seen enough.
Well,
I've seen
you know
enough.
something? I offered to put down some peace tonight, but you people, she called me an a-hole 3 times in the hallway, okay? And I'm just saying, so, I tried to make amends tonight, but you people obviously don't want to, so we're gonna have a long year again, which is too bad, because who suffers is the people in Newbury, bottom line.
You know something, Michael? They've had this all worked out.
Right.
They didn't ask for our vote.
Right.
We weren't consulted, so, I mean,
This is
It's-
typical,
it's
typical
so-
the way it goes over
yeah,
there.
it is
You know
so
something?
typical.
You were asked for your vote, Jerry, you wouldn't give it.
Yeah, that's right, because it doesn't make any difference.
I thought you weren't asked, though.
So,
Why don't we do this?
All right,
Why don't we give Alicia a chance as chair and JR a chance as vice chair?
He's had his chance.
Well, he's also not chair anymore, he's vice chair. So Alicia will be chair, let's see how she does. And she's certainly going to try to be an inclusive, transparent, and all the things you just said, because that's her nature anyway. So let's see what happens.
Roll call vote. Jeff Walker?
Yes.
J.R. Colby? Yes. Mike Doyle?
No,
Alicia Greco?
yes.
Jerry Heavy?
No.
Okay. Now we have clerk. I nominate, move Jeff Walker for clerk.
Second,
Discussion. Roll call vote. Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
no,
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. Alicia Greco?
yes.
Okay, now we have the select board summer meeting schedule. Tracy, what do we typically do for our summer schedule?
Aren't you going to change seats?
No.
We normally do the fourth Tuesday of June, July, and August.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Move,
Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion?
I think it's a bad idea. All the other boards meet regularly in the summer. We only meet twice, and I'd rather have 2 1.5-hour meetings than 1 3-hour meeting. And that's what we ran into last summer, but, so I'm not voting for this. That's what I just say.
May I speak?
Yes.
This is just a summer schedule. Chances are, we're gonna have to have additional meetings. We need 48 hours to post.
But I still say plan them, so
that's-
we can make
well-
schedules,
This is how historically it's been on since I've been on the board doing it, and it's worked fine.
okay?
But don't plan on only having 3 meetings this summer. I guarantee there'll be more than that.
I think part of what it is summertimes you have to be a little agile. And it seems the schedule is always lighter, but it always seems that something comes up that needs immediate attention. So it just allows for not having 5 meetings a summer or something, you know, it just allows for the ability to be light-footed, so. We can always change it if we find it's not working, Michael. If it's a different type of summer than it has been historically for, you know, we'll change it, we'll go back.
Okay. Roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes?
Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
No,
J.R. Colby? Yes. All right, we are joined by Matt Cooper tonight, our IT Communications Director. You ready for us, Matt?
Sure. So, I wanted to bring everyone's attention. We are going to start to implement a social media policy. The intent for that is to make sure that the town is able to put forth a consistent and uniform voice for anything relating to the public. That means all things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the town's website. Any sort of communication that we electronically do out to the world will be subject to the terms of this policy. The intent is not to stop information, but just to make sure that information goes out the right channels For example, we don't want me talking about finance matters. I believe you've all received a copy of the draft of the policy. If you had any questions or concerns,
Point of
feel free
information,
to fire them out.
point of information, Mr. Cooper? You
Yes.
You indicated, we received a copy of the proposed policy. However, it was not included on the website, the town's website, for people when they got the packet. So for that reason, it wasn't included at all. I would move to delay this discussion till the next meeting, so the people like Steve Mannion, who raised the discussion about communication, this deals with communication through all of the boards. So because the town's employees, I would think, don't have a copy of it, nor do the citizens, because it wasn't included on our website, I would move to delay it till our next meeting. Because it's good governance and transparency, because people, if you're asking for a vote tonight, I think the people who it affects, like the town hall employees, they should be aware, and the people like Mr. Mannion, who want communications and transparency and good government.
Is it our policy to put draft, I don't think draft documents
No.
on the website? We don't usually
That's
do
a
that.
question for Tracy or someone
No, we typically don't publicly distribute drafts.
before we vote on them.
Then why should we vote on a draft then? That's not fair to
Because,
not give
because
notice.
we make the corrections and produce the final product.
And the people who it affects won't have any input, any say at all, if we vote on it tonight. Are you asking for us to vote on it tonight?
Well, I think we're gonna let Matt finish, as long as he is. Have you completed what you wanna present to us, Matt?
Yes. Yeah, there wasn't too much to share as long as everyone had had a chance to review it.
Right.
I would like to emphasize, the whole point of the policy is to make sure that our transparent communication is effective. We want to make sure that the words getting out to the folks are consistent. But that means making sure that people who are speaking on behalf of the town are actually duly appointed to speak for the town. It also means that we're going out of official channels. We don't want inconsistent messages going out of non-official channels and creating confusion. There's not a lot in here that really warrants concern over limiting of information. A lot of it is largely, don't do bad things. Make sure you're using your town supplied media for town supplied news. If you are doing something personal, you have to do that on your personal channel, free and clear of any and all association or branding with the town. Again, it's just to make sure that we have consistent communication. At no point is there a control of what goes out, simply how.
What we could do is discuss the draft, potentially approve it or disapprove it, the draft as a final, and then include it on the next agenda?
Do you want to go through it?
Yeah, that's fine, go through it.
We'll go through it, and then we'll finalize it at our next
Tracy,
meeting.
has this gone to town council yet?
Yes, it's been approved by council.
Okay. Jerry,
Hey, you want to kick it off, Jerry?
Sure.
And read us through it?
Okay, so, the account, this applies to employees, and the,
what page are we on, Jerry?
I thought we were going to read through the policy.
the first, I'm on the first page.
Okay.
Purpose and scope, number one.
Oh, you're gonna go through the whole thing or just discuss
That's
things?
that's
that
what
are
I
appropriate?
thought.
Well, I was gonna raise some particular, I'll go
Yeah.
through it with my issues.
Okay.
How's that?
Yep.
Okay, under definitions, account administrator. Now, this applies to all employees, and so it applies to the Board of Selectmen because we are considered employees. Who is the account administrator who will be authorizing and allowing the content submitted by the Board of Selectmen, who will that account administrator be?
As of this conversation, the administrator in this context is the person handing out the social media outlets, and that would be me, for the purposes of gaining access to the accounts.
Okay, and you have access to all of the Board of Selectmen's emails addresses, correct?
Yes, as an administrator of our email system, I have administrative access when necessary.
Right.
It's worth noting, however, generally speaking, I have no business or desire to be in your email addresses unless dictated to by a higher power.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that, because in the past, your predecessor, on 3 different occasions, went in and changed my password without my asking her to do it, and without her telling me she was doing it, and I was frozen out of my email.
Point
The
of
town-
order, please.
The town's
Cancellation.
email.
This is discussing social media platform, it's not discussing an email policy.
Or former employees.
Excuse me, it also, under section,
Under definitions?
under definitions, however, it also applies to the social media that the town employees use that are their personal their personal emails.
What page are you on?
I'm on it's the fourth page. That was my question for Mr. Cooper.
What section are you in?
Use of,
Use of town social media accounts?
Section
Yes.
4, section 4.
section,
4 or 5?
Are you looking at section 6?
yes.
Use of social media account, use of personal social media accounts by town employees?
Yeah, so doesn't that say that if I have a Facebook account, there are limits? And you're supposed to, when you post, you're supposed, this posting is my own and does not represent the town's position or opinions under section 5? I mean, I think this is just a very bad policy, because it's saying anytime a town employee uses their personal email or media, social media, they have to post that. I think that's a,
What,
that's a bad idea.
which piece are you exactly citing? Could you read it for us?
5B.
Yeah, 5B, when posting content, town employees must use the following disclaimer. This posting is my own and does not represent the town's position or opinions. And that's under use of town social media accounts by town employees outside of their official role. So that, to me, tells me that anytime somebody who's an employee who uses social media, anything they post, they pretty much have to include that. So I think it's extremely broad.
I think it's important for people following social media to know who they're dealing with. And I think them knowing if someone's a town employee on town social media, I mean, that matters to me in
But-
sifting through the weeds.
But this is not. This is the employee's personal social media sites.
Yeah.
It's not the town's. It's not the
Correct.
town's. So,
Well, the intent is to increase the transparency. If someone were to make a personal opinion on their social media and give the impression that they were speaking on behalf of municipal government, that would be inaccurate. That would also put the town in an awkward position where we would have to try to address complications, for lack of a more encompassing term, from the false statement or the inaccurate statement. So we don't want people to not speak. We just want to make sure, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. However, freedom of, speaking on behalf of someone without the authority to speak on behalf of someone is generally frowned upon in most pleasant circles.
So I have a question. This is use of town social media accounts by town employees outside of their official role.
Oh, no, we're talking about the next one.
Number 5,
talking
right?
No, we're
We're
back.
talking about 6.
No, we're still talking about 5. And that's why it's pretty exclusive to, if you're gonna use town social media accounts by town employees outside of their official role on that town social media, that you should make that disclaimer.
I don't think that anybody, any town employee should be posting any personal postings on town social media.
But this section 5 says that it applies to their personal media sites.
Use of town social media accounts
Use of town social
by
media.
town employees
Next one
outside of
is
their
their
official
personal,
role.
Jerry.
I'm-
The
excuse
next
me,
one
thank
is
you.
their personal, the next one is
Yeah,
their personal.
okay. I misspoke. It's section 6.
It's okay, it's okay.
Use
All right, well,
of
but I
personal-
want to go back to 5 because I don't agree with that one.
Well, no one should be even
know
have
what
the
I mean?
opportunity to be in that area.
Well, I don't think that town employees should be
Right.
posting content of their own on town media site. Do you understand what I'm saying, Matt?
I believe so, yeah. We could absolutely look at some of the language on this and review it.
You know, I don't know, though, I mean, if we were on a town social media site, which I don't have one specifically in mind, but if I wanted to give, this is hypothetical, my own opinion on something to do with an issue on Plum Island, I don't think for the sake of, public information, as long as I made that disclaimer, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a scientist, and I'm not speaking as a selectman, I don't know if that's terrible.
But how do you have access to the town's website,
I
town
don't- I
social
don't-
media,
may-
if you're
I-
not?
I could be on a video or something on,
They can respond,
yeah.
Let's see, there's a subject on social.
I mean, as long as, I'm not against,
Yeah.
You could respond
as
to it.
long as you say, I'm not talking for the rest of the board. But that could be discussed, that's
Yeah,
just,
I mean, I need more clarifying on this. I don't,
Yeah.
do you
Could
see
be
what I'm saying,
discussed.
Jerry?
Yeah.
definitely,
it's just-
Jerry, you were getting into 6, and I
Yeah.
don't, I wouldn't,
All right,
I
so I'm
wouldn't
back
want
on
that
5,
in 6
so now
either,
we can go
so-
to 6.
Yep, so 6 is pretty clear now.
Okay, so now 6. I'm sorry, I was hung up on 5.
Oh, it's all right.
What's your problem with 6?
It's because it applies to the use of personal social media accounts by town employees. So that's their own personal accounts.
Okay, so town employees are personally and professionally responsible for the content they publish.
On their own personal sites.
Right, so we have no problem with A, right? That they're personally and professionally responsible for the content they publish, correct?
That's okay.
Okay, B, town employees must conduct themselves so that a reader would not think that the employee is speaking on behalf of the town. Personal views or comments must not be attributed to the town or the employee's job duties.
But see, there again, it's personal views, yeah, and comments. It's too overbroad, I think.
Who's gonna enforce it?
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, and I mean,
Who's gonna enforce it?
yeah, it's too, in comments, I mean,
Well,
to
maybe
me, it's
it's,
too many.
maybe this just isn't a good fit for Newbury.
Right.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just not a
Yeah.
good fit for us.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the spirit of it was for more transparency, but maybe this isn't the right road to go down.
Well,
Or we
I-
can take it under advisement, review it some more before
Yeah,
the
I
next
think we
meeting.
need to, I think we need to have a social media policy, but I think
mean,
this
if you
is
read-
a starting point.
If you read B correctly, and everyone pick me up if I'm wrong, but town employees must conduct themselves so the reader would not think that the employee is speaking on behalf of the town, because he really can't speak on behalf of the whole town. Personal views or comments must not be attributed to the town or the employee's job duties. As long as you're speaking on your, and you're not saying that, the selectmen feel that this is the way to go, I mean, that's fine, in some respects.
Well, it's more
I
than
can't
just
speak
that.
for Jerry Heavy, she wouldn't want me to, or Michael, or you, or JR. You wouldn't want me on my, although I'm very rarely on Facebook, blatting around that this is how you guys feel, which is something we
I
wouldn't
mean,
do anyway.
this is, what happens with this is, you see it in the news occasionally, somebody from a police department will put something accidentally thinking they're posting to their own, but they post on the town or the police, and it gets out, and it's a problem, and then the person loses their job over it, because you can't speak for the town. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and I really, I don't have a problem with that part. It's just, I think it just goes too far when they talk about, under section 4F, town employees are prohibited from disclosing conversations that occur amongst town officials, employees, outside public forums unless authorized by the town administrator. Information and policies that have not been finalized or adopted by the town may not be, I can envision people, Wednesday morning talking around the water bubbler about what happened on our meeting. So, that would apply. You can't disclose conversations. It's too much.
Yeah,
Well,
but
they
that's-
should be
but it's
posting
not-
that
but it's-
online anyways.
But it's not the bubbler, Jerry, in some respects, it's social media. It's a.
Yeah, you
it's
can't post it on social
It's
media.
out there,
Right.
meaning that,
Mr. Chairman,
some
can
of
we
this
move?
might need to be reformed in some respects, but some of it doesn't bother me just because it's not something I would do anyway. I'm not out on social media.
And I'm not involved in it either.
Saying that Jerry did this, or Mike did this, or, I don't bother. It's not something I
neither.
do. So this doesn't bother me.
Well,
I am bothered by, section H under section.
what else?
Section 4, if a town employee is contacted directly by a reporter or any other member of the media, he or she must immediately refer all questions to the town administrator?
I think that's the town
May I speak to
administrator
that?
act.
Yeah,
Where
Yes,
are you?
Matt.
What page are you on?
Sorry.
it's H,
Hang on.
Boss, if you want to go first, you can.
Yeah, Tracy,
page 4.
That's in the town administrator act, I think. Go ahead. Kurt.
That is because I am the public information officer for the town.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also stifling the person, and you're being the conduit to the news. So the news
my job.
person is only going to get your side of the story.
no, it's not.
That's
It's-
my
it-
job
it-
as town
it-
administrator.
It's not putting a personal spin on anything. It's making sure that there is one accurate information stream coming from the town without it getting convoluted in any way with misinformation.
But who decides what's misinformation and who decides what's accurate? Because what's
Town administrator does.
Well, I think this is very, very bad policy, very, very bad policy.
So, well, let me just play devil's advocate for a second. Who do you think the reporter should be going to? If they want an answer about the town, a position from the town, if it's not the town administrator.
I think they should not be limited to just going to the town administrator.
But most of the time, if it's something like, how do you feel about an issue, the town administrator obviously doesn't need to be, it's what this, I believe, is saying, if it's actual something that is entered into script, that is part of town policy, that is on and on and on, that it probably should come as one source to go to the newspaper. I mean, we get asked all the time after an incident or something, what was the storm like on Plum Island, Jeff? That's not that's not what this is talking about.
It is, in fact. Yes, it is. It
Then
is.
you can't talk to a reporter.
Is contacted directly by a reporter or any other member of the media.
Can't
He or
say a
she
thing.
must immediately refer all questions to the town administrator. This is stifling people.
Yep.
It's
Agree.
muzzling people, and people, when they go to work, they still have First Amendment rights. And this is just, what are we trying to hide? Why are we so thin-skinned that we can't have people who know, who are
May I
from a
speak to
different
that point,
department?
please?
Yes, Matt?
Thank you. The purpose for that is that particular passage is so that the town can make sure that the person giving the answer actually has all the information. If a reporter were to come to me, for example, and ask me about a matter that I had no knowledge about, I'm really in no position to speak. However, Tracy, being at effectively the top of the food chain as far as information goes, has the top-down view, does understand something that I may not have all the information for. And the same would hold true for any other department. it would be bad if I spoke on matters of her job. And she knows everything about my job. It's just an effective flow of information to make sure someone like me, because I'm a good example to pick on in this meeting, doesn't misspeak in a public forum with information I should have had and didn't.
But you're effectively being muzzled, and you can't give an accurate answer to a reporter. I'm working on the assumption that it's only IT information that they contact you on. I just don't understand why you should be prevented from answering a question. I mean, I guess my thought is the more informed the reporter is, the better the story. And I don't understand why it just has to be the town administrator who is the keeper of the bridge on the moat.
But that's her job, that's her job description. That's her
I think
role.
Chief Lucy wants to add something here.
Commissioner, help out a little bit maybe on this?
Sure, John, what do you have?
I might be able to weigh in a little bit if I'm hearing the controversy correctly. We have a similar situation here on a microcosm of what you're dealing with the police department as far as dissemination of information as it relates to the police department. It comes to me first. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the one that dictates what the facts are or what the story is. What it means is I am the common depository of information, so I have the most information. So the most intelligent conversation that can be had in my department is with me, not because I'm a genius, which may be argued, but it's because people talk to me and they tell me what's going on. So I think, if I'm hearing this right, the spirit of this dialogue is along lines of that. It's not so much Tracy is the one that dictates what will be said or what the facts are or does her own investigation and says what she wants. What Tracy seems to be representing is the common depository of information. So if there's going to be a dialogue to be had, anybody seeking information goes to the person that has all the information. And then her responsibility with that comes, she has to disseminate all the information, not just what she wants to or what she thinks is right. She would have a conversation to make sure that all the information acquired from the different entities or people that have something to offer is congregated into one spot and disseminated uniformly. That is what I believe is trying to be accomplished here, and that's how it works with our police department, and that's the policy we run. This kind of runs parallel to that.
And Jerry, I think this is just because of the fact it is the media. If we happen to get a reporter that just wants to contact one person because their rhetoric, let's say, sells newspapers, and they go to that one person all the time, and they don't go to anyone else, that's not news you can use. That's fake news. So this is probably, I mean, you've got the town clerk if she's asked a question, or the Board of Health. I mean, if you're asked a question by a citizen, you're answering the questions. This is just the media.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if someone asks a highway supervisor a question, he's gonna answer it, the Board of Health's gonna answer it, Leslie's gonna answer it. We're allowed to answer questions to everyone. It's just probably if it's the media seeking something, because the media can have a tendency to go to maybe one person and not go to the person.
Well, here they're told they can only go to one person, so,
That's probably why, though, you know.
well, I don't know.
I mean,
I just think it's muzzling
I don't think
the
it's
people.
ever been a problem when, we get to a point where the reporter wants to ask our opinions. I mean, how many times have you gotten asked? I've gotten asked a million times in my career, my opinion on things, So I think it's just the media.
Mr. Chairman, can I just bring up one thing real quick?
Yep.
When Matt's here, I just got a text from my wife. She says because of the distance of microphones, she can't hear anyone. So
Can't hear it,
at
any of
home, at
us?
home. So it's like, I think we're too far away,
Yep.
Yeah.
okay?
Well, we're on the verge of the restrictions getting let off. I thank you, but let's keep working on the policy here.
Yep, I'm just,
Okay,
Bring it to attention.
want to touch on
Thanks,
any
Mike.
other sections?
What are we doing now?
looking at those
So
sections.
I see under section 4A, Town employees posting content to town social media accounts for any other reason than official town business is strictly prohibited. That seems to conflict with B. When posting content, town employees must use the following disclaimer, this posting, 5B. This posting is my own, does not represent the town's positions or opinions. So that seems to conflict with each other.
I think we have a lot of work to do with this policy.
Okay, what, we had a motion. What was your original motion?
Oh, to delay this, to table it till our next meeting.
Okay,
I'll
And
second
I
that.
think I'd like to add to that, with your permission, Jerry, is to have us send our suggestions into our board, or to Tracy, or to Matt, so, you know, that
To
we
who
have
we're
an
gonna send
idea.
it to.
I think we send them to Julie, and she
Okay,
takes them all together and gives them
okay.
to Matt, and then we can have a workshop
So then we can have a workshop with it.
Okay,
next week.
okay, is there a second on the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote, Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
A little caveat, can we make sure that it gets posted on the town website so people can see it? 'Cause
We
this
don't,
week we did.
until it's a final document, we don't. We do not post drafts. We've never posted drafts.
Well, that's.
Posting a
not
draft's
good.
irresponsible, and that's misinformation, because it's not a finished product when someone can look at it and believe that it was because they saw it on the website. So
Well,
when we finish working on it, if it does come to fruition in a finish, then we could post it for a public review before voting on it.
Well, yeah.
I would have
we-
no problem with that.
We certainly should, and it's
Okay.
stamped draft,
We
so
have a
that's
motion,
yes.
roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Was it yes? Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
Eric Colby, yes. We have some requests for public property use from Salter Transportation. Let me get my page. And this is for a kids' camp pickup that used to be behind the fire station. They're asking to use the former town hall at 25 High Road.
Parking lot, you're asking?
Yeah, this is June 21st to August 13th. This would be 8:20 a.m. pickup, 4:10 drop-off, from June 21st to August 13th.
Discussion? Or sec,
I
you
move-
want
move
move in a
to
second?
approve.
Yep,
Is there a
second.
second? Discussion?
Mike, you wanna go first?
You could go.
I think, run it by, run it by John, run it by our police chief.
He signed off here.
Good. I mean, we've had that happen.
Police and fire are both signed off.
We've had that happen before with the private school pickups there, and all that stuff in years past, so that, it's nothing that hasn't been
Right,
done
right, right.
before. So,
Any other discussion?
The only other thing I was gonna say was, as long as the building's not gonna be used, if for some reason we decide to use the building right away, it could be a problem. I just don't wanna say yes and have to change it. But other than that,
They're done August 13th.
okay, fine.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. We have another request for public property use from Jane Merrill, First Parish, Newbury Food Pantry. And, hey, Jane, did you want to say a couple words before we start? You have well, we have you have you have this first event, but it's a kickoff for a much bigger accomplishment for your group.
Right, yes, we're gonna be having an event on June 6th from 11:30 to 1:30, kind of like an open house, and JR and Alicia have seen what it looks like inside of the church, but a lot of you haven't, and it's pretty amazing, and we're gonna be moving to Hanover Street, the end of June, so, we'd like people to see it, and that will let people know why we need a new space, because we couldn't possibly open the church the way it is right now. So we're gonna have a musician, we're gonna have some light refreshments, there'll be a professional storyteller, someone donated for children. And my volunteers will be giving tours through the food pantry, and there'll be, a couple other things to do. But it's just to kind of, people can come and go, and I asked if we could park cars around the Newbury Green and at the Old Town Hall site. The Newburyport Bank has given us permission because they are not open on Sunday. And I'd hoped to have parking on High Road, but I understand it's a state road and we can't park there. Because we're gonna have the whole driveway blocked off for the safety of everyone at this event.
Right, and I just want to make sure we don't gloss over by accident. This will be a fundraiser to help put up your new building, correct?
Well, it's kind of like just the very beginning. We're really not even calling it a fundraiser. If people want to give money, that's great, but we just want them to see and kind of educate, and we'll have graphs and charts to say, well, if people do give money, right now 95% of it or more goes to buy food because we're 100% volunteer, and we're feeding 250 to 300 people every week.
Wow.
The 26 or 27% of those people come from Newbury. And anyway, so I want your support, and I would like everyone to come and just enjoy and have a bite to eat, and come and take a look, because it's going away soon.
That sounds great, and everyone who takes a tour will be amazed at the amount of product that they have been moving in and out of the church, distributing to people. Jane told me they had a lot of stuff, and were helping a lot of people. And when I went in there, boy, I'll tell you what an effort. You folks do a lot of logistics, moving, carrying, planning.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful thing you do, and I'm glad you're
Well, thank you.
making
I'm
progress.
so happy with all the volunteers, and just want to say that we do deliver to over 100 households every single Friday morning.
Yeah, you are doing a phenomenal job, and kudos, thank you. Thank you. I do want to say one thing, Jane, that although the town can't grant you permission to park on High Road because the road doesn't belong to us, it's a state road.
Yeah.
Historically, there's been events at the church, like, weddings and funerals and stuff, that people do park along there. It's only a 2-hour event.
Right.
I can't see it, if somebody parks there, I can't see a problem, but we just can't give you permission because it doesn't belong to us.
Yeah, we also, I applied to have a policeman there, just to help with traffic and people coming and going and crossing the streets. It would be really nice if we could have some people, because I don't think everybody can walk all the way from the green up to the church. Some people are not quite as physically able, but
Right. Well,
We will take care of that for you.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Jane, are you gonna be building a new facility on Hanover Street?
We're going temporarily to a garage on Hanover Street, right near the railroad tracks.
Okay.
And our goal is to have a new building behind the church, on the church grounds.
Okay,
Our plan is a metal building. It will be 40 by 40. It'll only be one story. It will be white, so it will blend in with the environment. And, the church has given us permission, so, we just need to raise the funds for that. The garage is it's between the Newbury Elementary School and the railroad tracks. There's really no parking there. It's gonna be difficult, but we have to carry on because we're helping too many people. We can't just close down until the new building gets there.
We'll continue to work on rallying the community to make sure you folks get to your final destination.
Thank you
Your
very
permanent
much.
destination.
Thank you.
thanks, Jane.
good luck with the event.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
good luck.
Yeah, come and see.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So I move to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Mike Doyle.
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. Okay, I'm gonna recuse from the next two.
So I have a one-day liquor license for a wedding at Spencer Pierce Little Farm, Harrington Kozowski.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Julie, everything's in order, right?
Yes, we have all the insurance, we have the check, we have all the certifications for the servers, et cetera, so yes.
Thank you. Roll call vote, Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Mike Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy? Yes. Alicia Greco, yes. We have a one-day liquor license for Augustine Powers at the Spencer Pierce Little Farm.
Motion to accept?
Yep. Second.
Any discussion? Again, Julie, this is all set, right?
Yes, yep.
Thank you. Roll call vote, Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Mike Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Alicia Greco, yes. All right, JR.
Thank you for handling those. We have a one-day liquor license application for Governor's Academy.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Mike Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. We have an Emergency Management Director's update with Police Chief John Lucy.
Yes, okay, so first of all, I'll talk real quickly about the numbers as of today, actually. We still remain in the gray. Well, that means of the 805 tests that were given over the past 2 weeks, only 0.87% were positive, so we're remaining in a good standing, which is good. In light of the governor's lifting the mandates for the mask and the gathering limits, we will be, my recommendation is we'll be opening the town hall and all town offices fully on June 1st. That'll be the first day back from the holiday weekend. And then we're looking at opening all town meetings to be back in person. My recommendation of the EMD would be to open that as of July 1st. There is some legislation that's being looked at, but in anticipation of those regulations being lifted, July 1st for the in-person meetings resuming would be the recommendation, and that would be the update.
A question?
All right, thank you, John.
I have a question.
Jerry?
Chief, I was specifically asked by a constituent when the library was going to be opened. Do you have any idea? And is that your decision, or do you have to make it with the Board of Trustees?
The library, as it relates to being a town entity, a town office, will be open. They'll be following the same parameters as all town offices.
Okay, so June 1st, I take it?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, okay. And also, this weekend is Memorial Weekend, and are there any special events that the town is sponsoring that you're aware of, Chief?
I'm not aware of any town-sponsored events, but I know there's a group in Byfield that's going to have antique vehicles having a parade in Byfield on Monday at 10 o'clock, forming up on Nob Hill. We'll be helping them complete that task. It'll be these vehicles, about 20 vehicles is what I'm being told, will parade through town, ending at the memorial in the center of Byfield for a ceremony there.
Great.
But that's not a town-sponsored, that's a group of private citizens that have put this together.
And on that note, I would like to move that motion that the board send a thank you note to Bill Wint, who is the gentleman who every year puts up the flags in Byfield on the light poles, the phone poles. He volunteers. He does this, he's been doing this for a number of years, and he also does it down by the common. So this is all volunteer, it doesn't cost the town anything, and he's really good to do it. So I would move that we send him a thank you note of our appreciation for his putting the flags out for Memorial Day.
I would second that motion. That was a motion made.
Yes.
Discussion? Roll call vote. Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Mike Doyle,
Yes?
Yes.
Jeff Walker, Alicia Greco,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, John.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Administrators report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to follow up on Chief Lucy's report, in addition, those businesses that have added outdoor expansions and patios during the pandemic may continue through Sunday, August 15th. Beyond that, they must apply for an alteration of premises with the local licensing authority. There is legislation pending to further extend beyond that, but we wanted to let them know that if they're interested in extending, they can do it through the town directly. All, again, public meetings will return to normal beginning in July. This past Saturday, the Merrimack Valley Collaborative held their final weekend vaccination clinic in Amesbury. To date, they had vaccinated 26,987 people. There will be 4 final clinics offered on May 26th, June 8th, June 9th, and June 10th. We're so grateful to all of the many volunteers that made this possible, and certainly to our health agent, Deb Rogers, and our COA director, Cindy Currier, for all their efforts on behalf of Newbury residents. It looks like about 70% of them have been vaccinated to date. So, the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission has appointed Gerard Whitten, a Newbury resident of Plum Island, as their executive director. Gerard's been part of the organization since 1995, and during his 26-year career there, has gained extensive experience in planning, economic development, environmental and transportation systems, and has also served as their information technology manager. So congratulations to Mr. Whitten. I'm certainly looking forward to working with him in his new capacity as director. Our treasurer collector, Diane Doyle, has successfully completed the Supervisory Leadership Development Program sponsored by the Massachusetts Municipal Human Resources Association, receiving a certificate of achievement. So congratulations to Diane. The our conservation agent, Bill Holt, has resigned. He has accepted the Director of Public Health position in the town of Georgetown. We're very sorry to see Bill go, but wish him great success in his new role, and interviews for the position are currently underway. We were able to submit the Lock and Mill Dam removal grant on May 18th. We're seeking about $35,000 in engineering fees for follow-up tasks that were recommended in the original feasibility study that the town had spent about $65,000 on previously. The tasks that we're looking to complete include sediment analysis and a management plan, Route I-95 bridge scour analysis and design, Locken Road Bridge sediment deposition analysis, USGS gauge weir fish passage evaluation, and then the Route I-95 spill emergency response plan as well. All this is being done. We've been talking about it, I think, gosh, for at least about 10 years now, to restore the fish passage, improve water quality, provide habitat connectivity, reduce flood elevations upstream from the dam, decommission the aging and unsafe infrastructure that still remains in that area, and provide for ecological restoration in the Parker River watershed and the Plum Island estuary. So many thanks to Ben Gahagan of the Conservation Commission for all his efforts with the grant application. I'll keep you posted, cross your fingers. Hopefully we'll receive some funding. The Council on Aging is looking for a program coordinator. The position's currently open, and the director will be interviewing candidates for the position. Fire department the fire chief has notified me of an accident occurring on May 2nd with a piece of fire apparatus. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. DPW has addressed the Harvard Way right-of-way. We do that annually. The board has voted to maintain that right-of-way for access to the beach. So that's been completed. The DPW Director, James Surratt, has let me know that the work on the Grange building has been completed with the exception of the lights, which they hope will be done next week. The work on the ceiling joists. We'll also be updating the handicapped access this season, and the furnace will be replaced with an approximate cost of about $6,600. The Byfield Community Arts Center lease is expiring on June 30th, and they have expressed interest in renewing. 19 Independence Way is the work for the remediation of the heating oil has been completed. So the final closure document was submitted to DEP, and the purchases attorney has been notified that we are now ready to close on that property. Also on Plum Island, we have 6 active pairs of piping plovers nesting on the Newbury Town beach. We've identified the locations, passed that on to our public safety officials as well as our conservation officials, so everyone is aware of where they are, and to naturally be careful when patrolling the areas. And just to reiterate, the Memorial Day Parade will be held in Byfield on Memorial Day beginning at 10 a.m. It'll start at Nob Hill and end at the memorial, the World War II Memorial. And that's it.
Thank you, Tracy. In correspondence, we received letters from the Commonwealth of Mass Division of Marine Fisheries regarding shellfish enclosures due to excessive rain dated April 30th. The 30th, May 5th, May 6th, May 10th. We received the Newbury Food Pantry open house flyer. We received an email from John Higgins regarding his Upper Green Pond cleanup continuing. Email from Alex Saltzman regarding the idling trains at the train station in Newburyport. Letter from Xfinity regarding changes to TV service. Letter from National Grid regarding their vegetation management plan. Any meeting updates?
I have a couple. The Council on Aging is working with this workshop arts program to do this AOK, Acts of Kindness. They're gonna have an event at the library in June, and it's really quite a community building event. I think one of the first women that the group is a group of about 11 or 12 students, and they an elderly a senior citizen in town that lives alone can be nominated, and they'll bring over to their house a care package, and they do a puppet show in front of their house. And the first woman that it was presented to was so moved by it that she nominated the town of Newbury as one of the nicest towns in America to the Reader's Digest.
Nice.
And the Reader's Digest accepted it. So that's something that we'll look to see once the voting comes up. Hopefully, Newbury will rise to the top for Massachusetts. It has one city or town in each state, rises to the very top, and then they pick one. But I'm really proud of Stacy Fix and her whole program, and she's working well with the Council on Aging, and it's really a great thing. I also met with the Mass Municipal Association, the Fiscal Policy Committee today. Really quick, there's some pending legislation. One of them is a real estate surtax. With the money is going to, on the transfer fees, it's going to be earmarked for either affordable housing or coastal resiliency. They're the two things that they're looking to earmark that for. There's talk of a tax on streaming services like Netflix or Hulu, and that tax is going to be earmarked for PEG, Public Education and Governmental Access. They're looking for a clarification on ARPA funding. They want to see if it can replenish enterprise funds or funds like our rec committee that was harmed by COVID last year. They couldn't hold any events, so they're looking to see if they need clarification from the federal government, whether that can be revenue replacement, because the town did actually lose that money. There's going to be some clarifying questions asking if they can, if debt exclusions, if you've passed an override debt exclusion, if that counts as revenue, and if that money can be used to fund your OPEB liability. So that's what happened at that meeting today.
Thanks for attending.
You're welcome.
You know, it is getting to a point where certain people, and I suppose it's just the way of the world, but certain people that have some limited income or places that they have to put the income, you know, kids in college, everything, it's gonna be so hard for people to be able to maintain some of the programming that they are used to. Some of the programming that years ago, when I was younger, used to be free. It's really gonna, it costs a lot of money to watch TV now.
Too much.
And it's really, it's, you know, now they're gonna put a tax on some of the stuff that was able to not be as costly to watch. I mean, it's just too much.
And unfortunately, when the contract was reissued for the cable, the town didn't get any kind of senior discount.
I mean,
Well, that was handled as a side letter.
but I mean, the whole thing, Jerry, it's not even just seniors anymore. It's like, I mean, holy mackerel, Andy.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I don't know, I mean, somewhere along the line, it's just not a vehicle for everyone to garner onto and take money from. It's almost like a public utility. It shouldn't be that way.
We have a review of meeting minutes. We have minutes from the April 6th, 2021 Select Board, draft minutes.
Motion to accept.
Is there a second?
All those,
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. We also have April 29th, 2021 Select Board draft meeting minutes.
motion to accept.
Second.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jeff Walker?
Yes.
We have warrants to sign tonight. I'd entertain a motion.
Move to, second.
Sign.
Okay, roll call vote. Jeff Walker?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Alicia Greco?
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. We have no executive session tonight. Before we move to adjourn, tonight is a historic moment. First, I want to congratulate you both on your wins in the recent election, and Newbury will have its first female chair, and I think this is a big moment, and I'm excited about it. And I just want to say, Alicia really works her tail off behind the scene. She's dug into so many matters. She attends so many conferences, and I think this will be really good for the town. She's very motivated, very engaged, and very entrenched at the state level, working for our town. So I'm excited to work alongside you as vice
Thank
chair.
you. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. And I'll
Second.
second that.
All right. Roll call vote. Jeff Walker?
Yes.
Mike Doyle?
Yes.
Jerry Heavy?
Yes.
Alicia Greco?
Yes.
And J.R. Colby, yes. Have a good night, everyone.